better.
Fruta, taste the real Fruta, enjoy the real Fruta, refreshing juice of every day. Whoa, Fruta.
Sheikleisha Limited, the Caribbean's largest manufacturers of plain and printed paper bags, leaders in plastic bags, vermicelli, split piece powder, and greaseproof paper, ideal for doubles, french fries, and sandwiches. Supplying stores nationwide. For quality products, trust Sheikleisha Limited, 665-3336.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening, and welcome to See Results on IBN TV and streaming live on the IBN TV Facebook page as well as the See Results Facebook page. I am your math teacher, Sir Ijaz Ramsahai, and today, being Monday, we have mathematics as well as English language arts to do today. But before that, we have this tradition here where we like to give our students, something to feel happy about, all right? Every week we post quizzes and assignments based on the topics that we would have covered, all right? So we do these 3 shows for the week, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 5 to 7 p.m. And then on a Saturday morning, usually, the students would get some quizzes to do to sharpen their skills on the content that we covered, all right? And they have an entire week to do it. It's due Friday at 11:59 p.m. And then on the following Monday, we give you all some feedback, all right? And some interesting things happen when we do this. We are able to highlight and to, hone in on some of the topics that the students, by and large, as a group, are confident in and that they have a firm grasp on. And we sometimes uncover topics that students don't have such a firm grip on, and that can inform you as the student and inform you as a parent, what areas your child really needs to brush up on in order to prepare for the SEA exam, all right? And as we know, the SEA exam is fast approaching. It is carded to be on Thursday, the 2nd of April, all right? So let's take a look at how our students performed from last week. All right. So our class, it continues to grow. We are now up to 552 students, all right? So pretty soon we might have our own primary school full of just standard 4s and 5s, all right? And about a quarter of the parents, they also have accounts with us, all right? As a parent, you can choose to create an account so that you'll be notified when things are posted. But like I say every week, it's not mandatory because we really encourage you as a parent to, look over your child when they are on their devices doing our assignments, make sure that they are not, on the devices and being distracted or doing things that, they ought not to be doing, all right? These are still young kids, all right? So also, when they begin a quiz, they begin the mathematics or ELA quizzes, these things are timed, all right? It's just like an exam in which once you begin, you are in there, you're in the exam room, all right? You have a limited number of time to complete it, and once that time is up, that's it, all right? So if they take your phone or your tablet or so on and they are doing it, and as soon as you turn your back, they exit that, all right? They won't be able to resubmit, all right? So please, parents, in that light, you don't necessarily have to have a parent account. You can just have the student account if you desire and put it on your devices and let them use your device with your supervision for the maximum benefit, all right? So we had 112 students doing the English language arts assignment, which was on subject and object pronouns, all right? So 88% of our students, they passed, all right? That means 88% of the class got a score of 50% or higher, and the average score of the entire class was 78%, all right? So that means that they, in general, have a pretty good idea about subject and object pronouns. Of course, there is tailored feedback to every individual student where they would get their personalized score, and they would be able to see which questions they got wrong and what the correct responses ought to have been, all right? So, of course, your child may have gotten 100%, all right? They may have gotten below 50%. So you need to also view your child's individual performance, all right? But this is just an idea about how the class is progressing. All right, so we had 100 submissions as well for mathematics, which was, this quiz was about converting units of mass and length, all right? And this time, it was converting in both ways, from larger units to smaller units and smaller units to larger units, all right? So when we did the first conversion quiz, the scores were a little bit lower than this. Just over half of the class passed this quiz with an average of 59%, all right? So that means that there are still a lot of students who are struggling with this concept, all right? Because it has to do with decimals, it has to do with moving the decimal points, understanding and memorizing what units translate to what, the conversion keys that we would have given. So please, parents, if you know that your child was one of those who had struggled with this particular topic, of course, we have our videos on the Facebook page under the videos tab, the Series Results Facebook page. You can find all of our previous episodes there. The moment the live ends, all right, within a few moments, it will be available for viewing. So there's that option. And then there's also the YouTube channel, See Results, where you can look at it and, you need not be on Facebook. Most phones now come with a YouTube app pre-installed anyway. All right, you don't even have to have an account. You can just look for See Results on YouTube, and all of the lessons are there. All of the videos are there. They are nicely annotated on Facebook in the on YouTube, and the description of the videos and the titles. All right, so it's a very handy tool for doing revision. You can go back to all of those various episodes where we covered this topic of conversion. All right, you can look at it, you can rewatch it, you can pause it. And all of the questions that go up on the board, all right, you can pause the video, do them, and await the answer and the explanation from your peers who would call in, as well as from the teachers afterwards, all right? So that is available to you. And we do have 3 new assignments that were posted on Saturday morning, all right, in English language arts, maths, and creative writing. And they are due on this Friday at 11:59 p.m., all right? So a lot of students are very anxious to do it. The moment it comes out, people start attempting it, all right? Sometimes that's a good thing. Other times it's not so much, especially if you haven't looked at the episodes for that week, if you haven't covered the topics in school as yet, all right? It's really not advisable. You have the entire week to look at the episodes. You have them on YouTube as well as Facebook, and prepare yourself, ready yourself, and then attempt it, all right? Because when you do that and when you do really well, of course, as we're going to see now, those students who manage to score above a certain level, we give them, their moment in the sun, a little bit of weekly motivation, is to get your name up here in our list of top performers. But that is not to say that if you don't make it up there, that you should feel discouraged. No, it's just something to aim for, all right? But either way, as long as you're striving to get there, you are going to be seeing improvement in your work, and that is most important, all right? So it's a target, all right, but it's really a motivating factor for you to improve regardless of whatever score you get, right? As long as you continue to see improvement. So we have a number of students this week who managed to get full marks in both the English language arts as well as the creative writing, as well as the mathematics. As difficult as the math proved to have been for the class as a whole, there were still several students who got total or very close to total, all right? So we want to say congratulations to Sebastian Eccles, Ishan Gangaram, Zaria James, Faye Rambaran, and Caitlin Sunarain, all right? They all got full marks in both the ELA and the math assignment. And a few of these names now, they have been here multiple times already, all right? And some of them, they have joined the program not long ago, just a couple of weeks back, and they are already very dedicated, very focused, and they're already making themselves regulars on our list, all right? So congratulations to all of these students. Continue to work hard, and we hope, that when you get your results, when you do write SEA, be it this year or next year, that we get nice messages and phone calls from you in the studio and on the pages and so on about your performances, all right? Okay, and then we have a number of students who fell just short, all right? And you'd notice, if you've been watching the program for a while now, that some of these students, they have also been featured in the past in the top, the top performers who got total in both, all right? This tends to happen. One week they are the very top, next week they fall back a little, and then they are always aspiring to get back onto the 100% list, all right? So congrats to all of these students: Angelina, Tiana, Joshua, Jasmine, Jaden, Shania, Jonathan, Shane, Ebenezer, and Swarit. And a lot of these students actually do call into the program, all right? And it's always a pleasure to interact with them live on air as well. So congrats, guys, and keep working very hard. You're going to get back to the very top of the pile again in future weeks, I'm sure. All right? And then we had some students who also did very well in creative writing. All right, and you'd notice that Ishan and Caitlin, they also did very excellently in the ELA and the mathematics, all right? So that's a double props to them, all right? But congratulations to all the others, all right? Music, Tiana, Ishan, Caitlin, Jonathan, Dominique, Yusuf, Shania, Faith, Micah, and Ariana, all right? And of course, tomorrow on Tuesday, when we do English language arts and we do creative writing, some of these students, we will be picking their creative writing pieces to read for you on live television, and it's also going to be, backed up on Facebook and YouTube, all right? So that's something that's very exciting. Your work might be read live, and it will be there for future viewing as well, all right? So if you've not yet joined our web class and are not yet participating in our quizzes and assignments, and you'd like to do so, all right, you have to visit www.edmodo.com, all right, or download the Edmodo app. It's available on Apple, Android, as well as Windows phones, all right, and you register as a student or a parent, but of course, the student one is mandatory. We're using the code 6KJQ3Y, and you will be able to access our quizzes every week. All right, you will notice for some of you who are joining that some of the quizzes will be locked, all right? And we do intend on reopening the past quizzes again closer to the SEA time, all right, perhaps over the Carnival long weekend. So don't worry if you missed out on the past quizzes, you will have an opportunity to do all of them again, all right? And that concludes our weekly report. Congrats again to everybody who tried, all right, everybody who made it there, but most importantly, that everyone, or to everyone that was trying, all right? That's most important. So we're into mathematics again, all right? Last week, we would have done some geometry, all right? In particular, solids, solid shapes, all right, and then we moved on to statistics, all right. So this in the strand of statistics, we actually are now on to the section 2 type questions, all right. So section 1 is pretty big, and we've been covering almost all of the questions that you've seen so far in the program. They are section 1 type questions. The SEA paper, the math paper, is made up of 3 sections, all right. And we have exhausted, well, maybe not exhausted, but we've covered adequately the section 1 statistics type of questions, all right. And now we're on to the section 2, but it is in a topic that we have already done section 1 type questions for, all right. So that happens to be the arithmetic mean, all right. But as you saw last week when we did the first couple of questions, the difficulty level is a bit higher, naturally, because they are section 2 questions, all right. The way that the questions are put to you is a bit different, and it requires more critical thinking and more analytical skills, all right. So just to remind you, there are 3 questions in section 2 on the topic of statistics, and there's pretty much always a question on averages, right? Especially on the arithmetic mean. The modal questions tend not to come in section 2. All right, so just to recap before we continue with more questions on mean, we'll just remind you again what is the arithmetic mean. And we said that it's commonly known as the average, although there are different types of averages, all right? And that's why we specify this one as the arithmetic mean, as we see there. And what we do to calculate this is pretty straightforward, all right? We basically add up all of our values, and we divide that sum or that total by the number of numbers that we have, all right? Or the number of values that we have in our calculation. We divide the sum by the number, or to put it in a different way, this one here at the bottom is a very succinct way to put it, the sum divided by the count, all right? And that basically means the sum of our values or our numbers divided by the number of numbers, all right? So we tackled this question and another question in our last program, and there was something here that was pretty interesting, all right? So we have 3 people participating in a race, all right? So Zaria finished the race in 15 minutes. Angelina finished the race 6 minutes earlier than Zaria, and Isaiah finished the race 9 minutes later than Angelina. All right, so our first caller was tempted to add those 3 numbers and divide it by 3. All right, sum over count. But as we know, that is not correct. All right, so you have to read the questions properly, people. I'm just re-emphasizing that. All right. Angelina finished the race 6 minutes earlier, so we had to subtract 6 minutes from the 15. So she finished the race in 9 minutes, and then Isaiah finished the race 9 minutes later than Angelina. So we had to add 9 to that 9, and we got 18, all right? And the last step was to correctly sum the 3 running times and divide it by 3. And I believe we got an answer of 14 minutes, all right? You can check back our previous episode for the full working, all right? So that is the case for that particular question, all right? And then we had another question which was pretty interesting, where we had 2 batsmen performing over 3 different innings of cricket, all right? And we had to determine which batsman you would pick from a statistical perspective, all right? And of course, these sorts of things fuel all sorts of debates in the world of sports, all right, about who is the best batsman and in all various types of sports, actually, all right? Sometimes the numbers don't always give you the full picture, but, this is training us to think in a manner that a sports statistician would, all right? So there are 2 batsmen, Nicholas and Kevin, and those were the scores that they would have attained in the 3 innings of cricket, all right? And so we had a caller call in, and we needed to work out the averages of these 3 batsmen, all right? And of course, we'd have to sum for Nicholas. We had to sum these 3 scores, all right? And then divided by 3. So I believe that summed to 105. And when we divided that by 3, all right, we got an average score of 35 runs. And then we had to sum the other, which was Kevin, and we got a total of 102. And then we divided this by 3 again, all right? And we had an average of 34 runs per innings. And interestingly, when we asked the caller who they would prefer to be their batsman based on the calculations, all right, because that's what this part of the question is about, justifying your answers by finding the average scores. Our caller, made a mistake and said that she would have picked Kevin, all right? But, what they are trying to get at in this question is that the batsman with the higher average, on paper, should be the person or the batsman that you would want as forming part of your team, all right? All things being equal, okay? So, therefore, the correct response would have been Nicholas in this case for having the higher batting average. All right, so we're at that point now where we're going to put the numbers for the studio up on the screen, and you can feel free to give us a call. All right, and feel free to give us a call and assist us in working out some further section 2 type mean averages questions. All right, so if we get a closer look, and I do encourage you to read the question carefully, to have a piece of or a sheet of paper and a pencil or pen with you, all right? Because unlike the section 1, or sometimes when we have those little drills in our sessions, where it's just one straight working for the question, all right? These questions require a bit more thought, all right? So if we just take a closer look at our questions, the average height of 4 boys is 1.85 meters, all right? 1 boy is 1.67 meters tall. We need to calculate the average height of the other 3 boys, all right? So we have 4, the average is 1.85, all right? And I have a caller on the line already. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN TV.
Evening.
Hi, evening. And who am I speaking with?
Devon Powder.
Welcome, Devon. Welcome. Somebody that is always working hard on our Edmodo page. Devon, can you tell me how you would approach working this problem out?
Firstly, I'll find the total, which is 1.85 multiplied by 4.
Right. So I hope you have a piece of paper there to help me work that out.
Yes.
All right, so I'm waiting on you, right?
Right. 7.4 meters.
7.4 meters, all right, excellent. So the total height of the 4 boys together is 7.4 meters, correct?
Yeah.
Great. So one of the boys has a height of 1.67 meters, and we want to calculate the height or the average height of the remaining 3 boys. What are we to do from this point on, Devon?
Subtract 1.67 from 7.4.
All right. Okay, and again, I'll wait on you to give me the answer for that.
You'll get 5.73.
5.73 meters, all right? Good. So this is the combined height or the total height of the remaining 3 boys. So how do I get the average height of those 3 boys, Devon?
5.73 divided by 3.
5.73 divided by 3. And what will that give you?
1.91 meters.
1.91 meters. All right, excellent. Thank you so much for that call, Devon, and you are absolutely correct. All right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so before we move on to the next question, we'll just recap what Devon just did there, all right? Because there might be some of you at home right now who viewed it, and maybe you weren't sure about how to do this, all right? So we said that the formula for the average, all right, or the arithmetic mean, is the sum divided by the count, all right? So everyone should be with us up until that point, all right? But presently, we know that the average of 4 boys is 1.85 meters, all right? So we already have this aspect of it, which is the average, right? So therefore, we know that 1.85 is equal to a sum divided by the count in this case, which would be 4, all right? Because we have 4 boys. So we don't know the sum, right? And that is what is critical right now in order to subtract this height of one of the boys to work out our new average, all right? So, all right, you notice that we are dividing here by 4. So we have to do the opposite operation here on 1.85 in order to get the sum, all right? And then multiplying the 1.85 by 4, we got 7.4, all right? So 7.4 divided by 4 is what is giving us this average of 1.85 meters, all right? Now we know the height of one of the 4, all right, which was 1.67. So we have to subtract, all right? And I believe we just got 4.73, right? And we have to divide. All right, why are we dividing? So we have a new sum. We have a new sum, all right? We want to get the average. We have a new sum of 5.73, and we have a new count of 3 boys, all right? Because we took the height of one of them out of our equation here now, all right? So the new average will just be to divide the new sum by the new count, and that's how we got the 1.9 meter average for the remaining 3 boys. All right, so you can rewatch this as many times as necessary, and of course try to work it out on your own, and you have a clear explanation there of what is expected to be done to answer this question. So again, we are opening up the line to our callers, and again I ask you to read the question very carefully before you call in, all right? So to win a prize in a contest, a person must get an average score of at least 40 after 3 attempts, all right? At least 40. So Destiny scored 40 in her first attempt and 33 in her second attempt. All right, will Destiny get a prize if she scores 50 in the third attempt? And you have to justify your answer by showing all working. All right? So it's a game. You have 3 attempts and you need a minimum score. That's what we mean by at least, all right? We need a minimum score of, a minimum average score of 40 after the 3 attempts. So she scored 40 in her first attempt, 33 in her second attempt. We want to know if she scored a 50 in her last attempt, would that be enough to win the prize, all right? So I have a caller on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN TV.
Hi, evening.
Hi, how are you doing, Nicholas?
Fine, thanks.
All right, so can you help me answer this question?
All right. So for the average, right, you need to get is 40. So the 3 attempts, you say 40 by 3, which is 120.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you say first attempt equals 40, second attempt equals 33.
Right.
So you add up the 40 and your 33 and you get 73, right?
Right.
Okay. So now you say 120 from 73
Okay.
and you'll get just you'll get 47.
47.
Yeah.
All right.
So when you get 47, right?
Yeah.
You add it up and you'll get just yeah, you'll get 47. So but you make it to a target. So once you divide it by 3, you'll get your answer.
All right. Okay, Nicholas, thank you so much for
Yeah.
that call. All right. So Nicholas just gave us one way to work out this problem, right? This is not the way that I would have done it, but he is quite correct. All right. So I'll break down Nicholas's explanation for you, and I'll also give you the method that I would have used. All right. So well done, Nicholas. Right. She needs to have an average score of at least 40 after 3 attempts. All right. So in order to get this average of 40, all right, Nicholas is saying that the sum has to be 120. All right, that the sum has to be 120, right? Because 120 divided by 3 gives us 40, all right? And in her first 2 attempts, she scored 40 and 33, all right? She scored 40 and 33 in her first 2 attempts, all right? So in order to get to this value of 120, to make a minimum of a 40 average, he said 120 and he subtracted the 73, all right? And he got that the third score needed to be at least 47 in order for her to have an average score of 40, all right? And what did she score? Or, sorry, what is the scenario that they are proposing? Will she get a prize if she scores 50 in the third attempt? And of course, 50 is greater than the minimum 47 that is needed. So the answer would be yes, all right? She would indeed get the prize if she scored a minimum of, if she scored 50, because that would surpass the minimum requirement of 47, which is needed to get at least 40, all right, or exactly 40. So they said at least 40, so 40 would have done it, and higher, all right, so 40 and higher. So very well done, Nicholas. That was a nice bit of reasoning there. And of course, once he applied that reasoning, stated his working and so on properly, there should be no reason why he would not get full marks for that particular question, all right? So well done. All right. So alternatively, what you could have done is summed the 40 and the 33, all right, to 50. So as he said before, the 40 and 33 summed to 73. And if we add, this proposed score of 50 to it, all right, we'd end up with 123 in total, all right? So that would have been our sum. And if we divide it by our count, which is 3, and we said 3 into 123, all right, we would have gotten an average score of 41, which is greater than 40, all right? So it made more than, or it surpassed the minimum requirement of 40, and therefore we could say that yes, she would win the prize if she scored 50 in her final attempt, all right? So thank you, Nicholas, for helping us with an alternate way of reasoning it. Perhaps many of you students out there would have used that reasoning as well, and that is perfectly fine, all right? So this is the great thing about results, and it happens not only here on the show, but also on the Edmodo page, where students post questions all the time, all right, that they are struggling with, and we allow their fellow students to try and answer the questions. And so far, there's probably only been one question where the students could not, where nobody was able to find the right answer, and I had to give it to them. But more times than not, students come up with the right answers, and they usually have very different strategies because they have different teachers, they have different ways of thinking, all right? They're working with the same tools, with the same information basically, all right? But they have a different angle on it, all right? So that's very good. Perhaps one student watching today might have tended to favor Nicholas's rationale, all right? Or maybe someone would have seen it from my perspective, but that's great either way, all right? We are all learning and we are all benefiting from that. So we have yet another section 2 type question on averages, all right? So this one is very wordy, and we also have a graphic, all right? So you guys feel free to call in. I'm going to read the question for you. All right. In order to be selected to make uniforms for matches in a school sport, a seamstress must sew an average of more than 25 jerseys in 5 days. All right. 2 seamstresses, A and B, would like to get the job. However, only one of them can be selected. All right. Their work over a 5-day period is shown in the table below. So this question is very reminiscent of the one with the 2 batsmen, all right? So we have 2 seamstresses. They are trying to get a job to sew some uniforms here, all right? The school has a requirement that they must be able to sew at least 25 jerseys in 5 days, all right? Or in other words, more than 25 jerseys in 5 days. So not at least, but more than 25 jerseys in 5 days. This is their output over the last 5 days. Who is going to get the job and why? So I have a caller on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN TV.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. And who am I speaking with?
Ayodele Anilu.
Okay, welcome to our program. And what would be your strategy in answering this question?
Okay, I would go about this question. In order to be selected to make uniforms for matches in a school sport, a seamstress must sew an average of more than 25 jerseys in 5 days.
Right.
2 seamstresses, A and B, would like to get the job. However, only one of them can be selected. They work over a 5-day period, as shown in the table below. So, seamstress A.
Yes.
And B.
So what are you going to do with this information?
So I will. Sometimes there's excess information that is not really important. So I will just break it down to the most important parts and underline the keywords. So if you have to make a seamstress must have an average of more than 25 jerseys in 5 days.
Right.
So I will add 2 of the days, which will be I will add.
All right, so listen to me, right? They need to have an average of more than 25 jerseys in 5 days.
Yeah.
So what is our count?
25.
No, we want an average of more than 25. But when we are working out the average, we take the total or the sum, right?
Yeah.
Or the count, and we divide it by the number, right? Sorry, the total or the sum, and we divide it by the count, right? So the count is 5 days,
Yeah.
right? So we want to get their averages in 5 days. So for seamstress A, we have Monday to Friday. How many days is that?
5 days.
5 days, very good. And on each of those days, she would have made a different number of uniforms, all right?
Yeah.
So we know the count, which is 5. We want to know the sum. How would we get that sum?
The different number of days are different numbers, so you will add all of them and divide them by 5.
Excellent. And that would give us our average for seamstress A, all right?
Yes.
So, all right, so you have your pen and paper with you, or your
Yes.
pencil and paper? All right,
Have a
so,
whiteboard.
so I need you to add up these 5 days for me, right? For seamstress
Of course.
A.
And 130.
130.
30.
All right, so let me just verify that. Yes, so we have
Okay, good.
130, right?
Yes.
This is for seamstress A. And so her average, we have to take 130 and do what with it?
Divided by 5.
All right, and what would we get?
Yeah. Uh-huh. 210.
Okay, so you're dividing 130 by 5, huh?
Yes.
And you got 210, you sure about that?
Let me check it over. Um, 26.
All right, great. So we have an average of 26.
26.
All right, so let's look at something here. She needs to have, or he needs to have, made more than 25 jerseys in 5 days. So does this seamstress A meet the criteria of that? Of
Yes.
making more than 25? Yes.
Yes, it's
So
26.
because, right, she made 26, all right?
Yes.
So we have to repeat this process now for the,
So seamstress B.
right. So you
That's
go ahead.
T plus 40, 31. Okay. 140.
140.
Yes.
All right. And if we divided that
5.
by 5, what would we get?
28.
28. All right. So excellent. So seamstress A has an average of 26 uniforms per 5 days, right? And seamstress B has an average of 28 in 5 days. So who would you hire to make your school uniform and why?
I would hire seamstress B because in the between the 5-day period, she made more than seamstress A. So if they had to make 20, if 25 was the objective, she would have made more.
All right, great. So both of them actually make over 25. So both of them are fine, but seamstress B has the higher output, right? Which is 28. So excellent. Thank you so much for that call and well done to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so that is how we worked out that particular question. You know what? Let me just give you one more recap of what just took place because it was quite a lot. All right, so we have a school looking to hire a seamstress to provide uniforms for a sports day, all right? And they have the criteria that this seamstress must make more than 25 jerseys within 5 days in order to get the job, all right? So we have seamstress A and B, and we have some data here, some numbers which represent the number of uniforms that they made over a 5-day period, all right? So notice the numbers, they vary, right? By quite a lot actually, all right? And in order to determine if they are making more than 25 jerseys in 5 days, all right, we need to find the average, all right? So the average, as we said, is found by taking the sum and dividing it by the count. The count here being 5 days, all right, and the sum means adding all of the uniforms that they made in those 5 days. All right, that is our sum, and we've divided it by 5. All right, so we added the uniforms made by seamstress A from Monday to Friday. We divided it by 5, and we got an average of 26 uniforms. Now, you might be tempted at that point in the exam to say, right, seamstress A, and not bother to work out seamstress B, because you might mistakenly think, all right, that one of them is going to be more than 25 and the other is going to be 25 or less than 25, all right? That would be a grave mistake or a grave error, all right? Because as we see here in this particular question, both of them are making more than 25 uniforms on average within the 5 days, all right? So we have to work the question through thoroughly. Remember, this is a section 2 type question. It involves a bit more reasoning and a bit more work, right? More often than not. So we have to add again to get our sum, and adding the output for the 5 days for seamstress B. All right, again, those numbers vary, but we are looking at the average. So we added them and we divided it by the number of days, or the count, which is 5. All right, and we got an average of 28. And you have to justify your choice by showing all working. All right, so you'll have seen all of the working step by step as we work the question out with our caller on the phone. All right, and you would give a better description or a better justification in your own words on the exam paper, of course, but I'm giving it to you right now orally. All right, we are going to select seamstress B because seamstress B had the higher average of the two, even though they both met the criteria of producing or making more than 25 uniforms in a 5-day period. All right, so well done, caller. Thank you so much for your assistance. All right, so we have our final question, section 2 type question on averages. All right, so this one, we have a table showing the marks that Nikki scored in 3 tests. All right, we have language arts, mathematics, social studies, and science. We have 3 scores there. So Nikki wants an overall percentage of 90% or more. All right, what is the least mark, or should be the lowest mark, all right, that Nikki must get in science to achieve this? All right, so Nikki wants an overall percentage of 90% or more. What is the lowest mark that Nikki must get in science to achieve this? All right, so this question is going to lead us very nicely into the next topic. We are going to go back into number, and we are going to start looking at the topic of percentages. But of course, a lot of our viewers are in standard 5 and they've already done that. So we are going to give them an opportunity to help us out anyway. All right, so good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results on IBN TV. Hi, good evening, caller.
Hello, can I answer number 6? Can I answer number 6, please?
Sure, no problem. And who am I speaking with?
Saya Sempa.
Okay, welcome to the program. So can you give us your ideas about answering this question?
The table below shows the marks Nikki scored in the 3 tests.
Right.
Subjects are language arts 92, maths 84,
Yes.
and social studies 88,
Right.
and science blank.
Yeah.
Nikki wants an overall percent of 90% or more.
Right.
What is the least mark that Nikki must get in science to achieve this?
Yes. How do we do this question? How would you do this question?
That's Mom.
All right. So we are giving our caller an opportunity to do some working there. All right. So we have 3 scores so far. All right. And we want to get 90%, or Nikki wants to get 90% or more as an overall percentage, all right, what is the least mark that Nikki must get in science to achieve this, all right? So we know we are dealing with an average score here, all right?
Yeah.
And so what would be our sum and what would be our count, all right? How do we determine these things? That is the key to this particular question.
The answer is 224.
224 is what?
Huh?
What does 224 represent?
The total of the 3 subjects add up together.
Right, the total of these 3 subjects is 224. All right? And we want to know how much Nikki has to score in order to get an overall percentage of 90, right? So what do we do with that information?
Yeah.
You go ahead and tell me now.
You subtract 90%.
All right. So how much is each of these tests marked out of? Can you see from the table?
Yeah.
How much?
100.
100, right? So if this person would have gotten like total in all the exams, what is the highest mark that they could get in these 4 tests combined?
92.
All right. So we have here a score of 92 out of 100, right? 84 out of 100, 88 out of 100,
Yeah.
and something that we're not sure about, but it's also out of 100, right? So what is the maximum
100.
mark for all 4 together? We have 4 tests at 100 marks each. What is the maximum mark of the 4 tests combined? You're almost there.
Language arts and social studies.
All right, not which one is the highest, right? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So we have 4 tests. Each one is worth 100 marks. Forget how much Nikki scored in these 3 tests for now, right? We know that so far we have a total of 224 marks, right? In the 3 tests, and we're trying to figure out the other one. All right?
Yeah.
Good. So we want to get an overall percentage of 90%. All right? What would the sum have to be in order to have an average of 90%? Right? That is what we're really trying to figure out here. How much is our count? How many subjects did Nikki take here in this exam? For these exams, sorry.
4.
4. So our count is 4, right? And we want to know what sum divided by 4
Yeah.
is going to give us an average of 90%. All right? So the total or the sum of the 4 exams, the maximum mark for them all is 400. Would you agree with that? Because we have 4 exams with 100 marks each. So the total possible marks Nikki could get is 400 overall. Are you seeing that?
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, because 4 times 100, or 100 added to 100, added to 100, added to 100 is 400, right? Agreed or disagree?
Yes.
Right. So in order to get
I agreed.
90%, right? At least, or the 90%, you need to get how much out of 400? So that is what the question is asking us. So we need to find 90% of 400. Can you work out that for me?
Okay. Can you give me a minute, please?
Yeah, no problem.
$36,000.
All right, so it's 360, right? 360. So you'll just double check your work in there when you get an opportunity, right? So in order to get an average of at least 90, our sum must be 360 and our count has to be 4, right? In order to get that average of 90%.
Yeah.
Good? So, as you rightly said before, the total marks that Nikki obtained in the other 3 tests are 224. Good? So, how much more must Nikki make in order to get a score of 360? All right, so the total was actually 264, right? Not 224. So those 3 exams together gives us a total of 264. Let's just double checking your answer there. But we know now that in order to get this minimum of 90% overall, Nikki has to score at least 360 out of 400, all right? So how many marks again must Nikki get in order to make up 360 if she or he already has 264 marks? We have to take 360 and subtract 264 from it. And how much is that? You with us, caller?
96.
96. All right.
Yes.
So very good. So the minimum or the lowest or the least mark that Nikki should get in science in order to achieve this is 96 out of 100, all right? All right, caller. So thank you so much for your assistance in this problem. All right. So when we do mathematics again on Thursday, I know that this question has a lot in it. All right. So I applaud the caller for sticking it through with us on the line. All right. We will run it back through and tell you exactly why we did what we did. And of course, we're going to be getting into percentages now, especially as it pertains to section 1 of the paper in the number strand, all right? Because that's what percentages by itself falls under, but of course it can be applied to other sections of the paper as well, and it can be mixed with other strands of mathematics as well, because that is the nature of mathematics, all right? So Nikki needed an average score overall of 90%, all right? The maximum marks of the 4 exams combined was 400. We found 90% of 400 to be 360. All right, Nikki already obtained 264 marks out of 300 in the first 3 exams. How many marks must Nikki get in order to have at least a 90% average? All right, we must have a sum of 360. All right, So we took 360, subtracted 264 from it, and we got 96 marks for that particular test of science, all right? So I am out of time for today, but it was a lot of fun working with you all and solving these problems, and we will continue from right here and get into percentages as a topic itself on Thursday at 5 p.m., God willing. Of course, we still have ELA coming up at 6 p.m. today, and we again have ELA and creative writing tomorrow at the same time from 5 to 7 p.m., all right? So don't go anywhere for now. Miss Nyla will be with you shortly at 6 p.m. to get on to our English language arts. Good evening. Assalamu alaikum.
Sheikleisha Limited, the Caribbean's largest manufacturers of plain and printed paper bags. Leaders in plastic bags, vermicelli, split piece powder, and greaseproof paper. Ideal for doubles, french fries, and sandwiches. Supplying stores nationwide. For quality products, trust Sheikleisha Limited, 665-3336.
IBN can be viewed on the go now with the Airlink TV app for Google devices. Simply go to the Google Play Store, search for the Airlink TV app. Download the app, click on the link and fill out the form. The account activation will be emailed or texted to the user. It's safe as no credit card is needed. The first 30 days are free and you can subscribe and receive a box for your TV to stream the same content.
For the everyday lowest prices on all grocery items, trust Low Cost Supermarket for the widest variety of quality products at low prices. Freshly picked fruits and vegetables, healthy products for your well-being, high-quality meat cuts, and a warm and friendly service. Low Cost Supermarket, Sun and Main Road, Cunupia.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, guys, and welcome to C Results. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Miss Nyla, and I'm going to be taking you through the next hour or so for ELA. So I must say welcome to all our viewers, whether it's on the IBN TV8 channel or on our C Results page on Facebook, right? So welcome one and all. I trust that you all had a good day at school. It's the beginning of a week. Let me just remind you guys, now that you don't know, it's 1 week closer to the SEA exam. Right, so as you know, we have lots of work to do and a little bit of time, so we are trying our best to do our best, right? So continue with pronouns as we were last week. Now that we have covered most of the pronouns, we are just going to wrap up this topic. So we still have relative pronouns to cover, and then what we are going to do, we are going to do a couple reinforcement exercises. Because as you are seeing here, we have 7 types of pronouns. And in addition to the 7 types of pronouns that we covered, we also looked at demonstrative adjectives, or let me just say various types of adjectives as well. Right? So it was both a combination between pronouns and adjectives. So that was actually a lot of work, right, and a lot of content for you to remember. So I'm going to help you with that by doing some extra activities, right? But for now, we have to continue with relative pronouns. And just in case, you know, you missed all of these, for some reason, one or the other, please, guys, go back on Facebook on our C Results page or go on YouTube and, you know, look for our page and rewatch the videos, right? This is key information, really important, not only for ELA, but of course for your creative writing to improve your skills. Okay, so let's move on to relative pronouns. Now, I know we touched a bit on relative pronouns using who and whom, right? A couple students asked me to, to go over relative pronouns, especially, who and whom, right? I know that's a bit tricky, so we're going to do that today in addition to the rest of the relative pronouns. And if you're seeing this for the first time, right, read along with me and, make your notes mentally or using your pen and paper. So relative pronouns are used to connect a clause or phrase to a noun or pronoun, right? So you can use relative pronouns to join sentences, or you can use relative pronouns just as they are to form questions. We should know, however, the uses of each or the use of each relative pronoun as they are different, right? So you know that who is used to refer to persons, right? Only people here. Whom, similarly, used to refer to persons as well. Whose shows possession. So we use whose to show possession or ownership. Which is used to refer to animals and things. So both of those are used to refer to animals and things. And that, used to refer to people, animals, and things. So be mindful of the uses or the use of each one of these relative pronouns, right? You will not say who to refer to a cat or dog, right? It is an animal, therefore we should use the appropriate relative pronoun. And we would not say WHO apostrophe S to ask whose is this if you're asking if something belongs to somebody, right? So whose pen is this? We would not say WHOS. That is incorrect. This actually means who is, right? So that's a contraction there. So be mindful of that. Don't get mixed up with whose and whose, right? That's different, and you should know the meaning as well, right? And I have a couple sentences here. We are just going to read them and identify. It's easy. It's not a call-in session. I'm just going to read these for you and identify the relative pronouns and show you how they are used in these sentences. Because like I said, we already went through relative pronouns using which and that and so on. The main focus of the relative pronouns today is for who and whom, use of who and whom. So let's look at these sentences here. I received the apple which you sent me, right? So you can say which or that here. Either of those relative pronouns will be correct and suitable. The boy who called me is my cousin, right? So if I ask the question, who called me, you will say he called me, right? The boy was my cousin. The man, or if I say, sorry, who called, you will say he called or the boy called, right? It's very simple, and you're going to understand who a little better shortly. The man whom we invited is our uncle, right? So if I'm asking you a question here, you'll be able to tell me it is him. He is my uncle. Number 4, Aidan ate all the pizza that I left for him. Again, we can use that or which for this sentence. And lastly, this is the boy whose pet dog is missing, right? It shows ownership or possession here. Whose pet dog is it? It's the boy's. So be mindful, if you have or are having problems, using these in a sentence, like whose, for instance, right? What you can do, you can probably look for a familiar sentence. So if you want to look for something such as this, and you're trying to remember, how do I use whose in a sentence? You can reflect on this sentence here that you have memorized. And once you have learned the sentence, you will not be confused by WHO apostrophe S or WHOSE, right? So that's a little tip for you if you would like to do that, if you're having problems. Right? So now on to the relative pronoun who. Who is a subject pronoun. Use who as the subject of a sentence if the subject is being referred to. So let's look at the sentences we have here. This is the lifeguard who saved my brother, right? So if I ask you who saved my brother, you will say he saved my brother. It answers the question of he, right? Who refers to the lifeguard? Lifeguard is the subject of the sentence. So 2 things here. You can ask the question, right? And the question will be answered with he, the subject pronoun, he or she. Or you can look at it this way and say the lifeguard here is the subject of the sentence. Therefore, we need or will use the relative pronoun who, right, which is a subject pronoun. Again, this is the lifeguard who saved my brother. Who refers to the lifeguard? Because the lifeguard here is the subject of the sentence. And if we are looking at the relative pronoun whom, we can say whom is an object pronoun, right? And if I say object pronoun, you should be thinking this is the object of the sentence. Just as we looked at who, and who was the subject of the sentence, whom here is an object pronoun. And it is used when the object of the sentence is being referred to, right? So who, WHO, goes with the subject or the subject of a sentence and is a subject pronoun. Whom, right, WHOM, is an object pronoun and is used when the object of the sentence is being referred to. Whom is also used after the prepositions. So I'm just going to omit be, right? So whom is also used after the prepositions to, with, by, for, and from, right? So if you see a preposition such as this, right? So I may begin my sentence with to, or I may have from whoever, you know that it must be followed by whom, the relative pronoun whom. Let's look at the examples. To whom must I direct this call? Notice here I have the preposition to. After or following the preposition here, I must use the relative pronoun whom. To whom must I direct this call? I will not say to who must I direct this call, rather it's to whom, right? This is Miss Potter, whom you met last week, right? So if I asked you, who did you meet last week? You can say, I met her last week, right? It answers the question of him or her. This is Miss Potter, whom you met last week. So now, I'm going to take a few calls before the break. As you know, we'll take a short break for Maghrib Adhan, but that's coming up in about 5 minutes or so, so I'm going to take some calls, right, just before we go for that break. So the numbers are going to be up on your screen shortly. Call us, and what you're going to do for us here, this exercise actually is focusing on who and whom. You're going to give me the correct relative pronoun to go with the sentence. Right, so take your time, read the sentence carefully. You know, look for whether it's a subject or an object. Also, if you want to answer the question of he or she or him or her, that's fine as well. Whichever you prefer to help you. And I have a call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results. Hi, good evening. Welcome to See Results.
This is Nicholas.
Hi, Nicholas. Welcome. How was school today?
School was good.
All right. So, number one. What is the answer? Is it who or whom?
It is who, because she is the person who I told the secret. Because who is used for subject and whom is used for objects. And objects are persons who receive the action. Yeah. And I also learned a different way. Like, let's say whom, right?
Yeah.
When I was in standard 4, my teacher, right, he said, if you use whom, right, you use her, him, it, and something else. And if you use who, you use she, he, it, and something else.
And something else. What is the something else?
I can't remember.
Okay. All right. So, okay. So the answer here, she's the person who I told the secret. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to go with your answer. Right? Who I told the secret. Right? So good job. Thanks for calling.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Good. I have another call on the line. And before I go back to number one, I'm going to finish these and then we'll go through them. We have another call on the line. Hi. Good day. Welcome to See Results.
Good evening.
Hi.
My name is Micah, and I'd like to answer number one.
Hi, Micah. Welcome. So you are answering number... Okay, for number one. Let's stay with number one. What would your answer be for number one?
She is the person who I told the secret.
So you agree with Nicholas when he said relative pronoun?
Oh, I didn't know his answer number one.
No problem.
I didn't show my screen.
No problem. That's not a problem. I'm just wondering, what do you think is the answer? Do you agree with him there?
Yes,
Okay, tell me why.
because who is subject pronoun?
Subject pronoun. Okay, no problem. And we are on to number 2 now. What do you think is the answer for number 2?
Who
Who made a mess in
made
the...
a mess in the kitchen floor?
Okay, great. So I'm taking your answer as well. Who made a mess in the kitchen floor? Right? So I'm going to take a break. We'll be right back. Don't forget, as we come back, we're going to complete these sentences. Right? And don't go anywhere, guys. We're going to be right back soon. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, guys, and welcome back to C Results. So just before the break, we were looking at the use of relative pronouns, more specifically, the use of who and whom. So just before the break, we took 2 calls, and now we're going to open back the lines and continue with this activity here. So when you're calling us, read the sentence carefully and decide whether it's who or whom. So far, we had numbers 1 and 2. I'm not going to go through it as yet until we have finished all 5 sentences, and then we'll do a recap to make sure we understand what we are doing. And I have a caller on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to C Results.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening. What's your name?
Kaylee Spencer.
Hi, Kaylee. How are you?
Good.
All right. So, Kaylee, number 3. What is the answer?
Whom?
Whom. Right? So, thank you so much for calling, Kaylee. Right? So, she is correct. And I have another caller on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to C Results.
Hi, evening.
Hi, Nicholas. Right?
Yes.
Yes, Nicholas. So, the answer for number 4.
Number 4 is who.
Who again, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good job.
Okay.
Right, and I'm just going to hold on there for one more call to complete this activity here, right? So in the meantime, you can reread these sentences and see if they are correct before I tell you which is correct, right? And with number 5, we are looking at here, who or whom would like to go on a vacation, right? So this one, not so tricky, but still, you don't want to risk it and lose a mark for not reading the sentence carefully, right? And that goes for everything that you are doing. In whichever task you are in or at the moment, take your time, read your questions once, twice, or as many times as it is necessary, or for you to understand what the question is asking you, right? Don't rush it, take your time. And I have a caller on the line there. Good evening, caller. Welcome to C Results.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, welcome. What's your name?
Samia Archibald.
Okay, nice to have you with us. Number 5, what is the correct relative pronoun here?
Who would like to go on a vacation?
Right. So, thank you so much for calling and giving us your answer. Right, so that's the end of calls for now, guys. Let's just recap these sentences here. So, she is the person who I told the secret. So, just like Nicholas said, she here is the person, is our subject. So, we use a subject pronoun or the relative pronoun that goes with the subject, which is who, right? She's the person who I told the secret. Number 2, who made a mess in the kitchen floor, right? So this one is just simply asking, right, for you to identify who is the person or the culprit here. I need to know with whom you are going to the mall with. So we don't need this with here. I'm just going to cross that out. That's a bit redundant. So I need to know with whom you are going to the mall, right? If you want to put the with, that's fine. So after the preposition with, we must use the relative pronoun whom. This is a doctor who gave me the medication. Doctor, again, here is the subject. So we use the subject relative pronoun who. And lastly, who would like to go on a vacation? Just as in number 2 here, where we are just simply asking the question, and it requires a subject pronoun there. Who would like to go on a vacation? So great job there, guys, and keep up the good work. So now, just because we have done a lot of work, and it might be, a bit of a cognitive overload with pronouns, as we did it together as one, we are just going to do a recap and do some exercises to help us reinforce what we have learned and to ensure that you have understood, right, what you have learned as well. Last week and this week, the quiz on Edmodo is actually based on pronouns, right? So we are splitting it up. So 1 week we might give subject and object, another reflexive, another with demonstrative, right? We're just going to mix it up a bit because, it might be a bit of a challenge. Forgive me if my throat or my voice is a bit sore. I am dealing with the Sahara dust at the moment. I know many of you as well might be, going through that same thing, right? So my throat is a little bit dry. So let's look here at what we did and where we started. We looked at personal pronouns, and in personal pronouns, we touched on subject and object pronouns. And what is important here, right, is that you know or memorize your subject pronouns. And just to recap, your subject pronouns, all 7 of them, I, he, she, it, they, we, and you. That's important for you to know, right? Especially for the for your essay writing. Sometimes we tend to use pronouns a lot, right? And we don't replace them. Not pronouns, sorry, nouns, right? A lot we're saying the person's name over and over, and we are not using pronouns to replace that noun. So that's the reason we have pronouns, or one of the reasons we have pronouns, right? So I advise you to use it. And next, we looked at object pronouns. Now, what are your object pronouns, and have you learned them so far? We have me, her, him, it, you, them, and us, right? So just to show you again, your subject pronouns, I, he, she, it, they, we, and you. Your object pronouns, right? Me, her, him, it, you, them, and us. This activity here, we're going to open up the lines to you. What you have to do actually, read the sentence and give me the suitable subject and object pronoun for each sentence. Now, you may have more than one correct answer. That's fine. Just ensure that your subject and your object pronoun is appropriate to this sentence, right? So don't be worried if you're thinking it's she or he or so on, right? You are still correct. Just read it carefully. So let's look at number 1 here. Will something be able to take something out next week? Remember, we are inserting subject and object pronouns. So which subject pronoun can you use here, and which object pronoun will you also use? Let's give the caller on the line a chance to help us. Good evening and welcome to See Results.
Hello?
Hi, good evening. Welcome to See Results. Hi, caller. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. So number 1, which subject and which object pronoun will you insert here? Are you with us, caller?
Will we be able to take? The first one will we be able to take?
Uh-huh. Now, it's no right and wrong answer specifically. You can use any subject and any object that you would like, right? And I'm just going to go back here so you see all the subject pronouns. And here we have all the object pronouns, just in case you haven't memorized them as yet, right? So you can complete your sentence. So if you would like to use we here, that's fine. Will we? Go ahead with this. Are you there, caller?
Him.
All right. Will we be able to take him out next week? Before you go, caller. Now, I was saving this for the next part of today's lesson, right? But I want to show you something here. Usually with the pronouns I or we usually use the modal verbs shall, right? So we usually, or would, the correct thing to say would be shall we or shall I, right? Here we have will. Will usually goes with the other subject pronouns. So he, she, it, and so on, right? So we can probably, just for correction's sake, because we want to be grammatically correct, right? Should we use we here, or can we change our subject pronoun? Since we or I usually goes with shall. Are you there, caller?
Yes.
Okay, do you understand what I mean by will and shall? The future tense?
Yes.
Okay, right. So seeing that you have that knowledge, do you think we should change the subject pronoun from we to something else? What can we change it to?
I.
I? Will you say, will I be able, if you want to, will I be able to take him out next week, right? But,
Yes.
okay, but just like I said, right, now this is not incorrect that you're saying, will I be able to take him out next week, right? But I'm just going to show you some other subject pronouns we could also use in place of I. So thank you so much for your call and your contribution, right? So So the caller said, will I be able to take him out next week? Or you can say, will he, right? Or will she, right? Or will they? Any of those will also be correct. Will he or she be able to take him out next week? So any of those are suitable and can be used there, right? So just be mindful of it when you are reading the sentence. We have another caller on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hi,
Hi, good evening. What's your name?
Kiana Archibald.
Nice to have you with us. What subject pronoun here will you use for number 2?
He is meeting me at the cinema, or she.
Yeah, he, she. What else can we say? Anything else? Oh, that's about it.
That's about it.
Right, so we can say he or she. Thank you so much for calling. Right, I'm just going to fix this here. Right, he or she is meeting me at the cinema. Now, I'm just going to come back to number 2 in a second after I take this caller when we are recapping. Right, good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Assalamualaikum.
Hi, welcome, assalam. What's your name?
Ariana.
Hi, Ariana. What is the answer or answers for number 3?
Can I accompany you to the supermarket?
Yeah, that's fine. Anything else you would like to that probably can work here?
Can she or he accompany me to the supermarket?
Yeah. Can he, she, I, can they? Any of those, that is fine, right? Similarly with your object pronoun here, right? So thank you so much for calling. And we have a final, actually we have 2 more sentences here. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hello,
Hi, good evening. What's your name?
Brianna Varkas.
Hi, nice to have you with us today. What do you think you would put here for number 4?
For number 4,
Yeah.
should we tell them the truth?
Yeah, that's fine. Anything else can work here?
Should I tell him the truth?
Yeah. So any of those that will work, right? Or should she or should he or should I tell you, them, right? All of those are correct. So thank you so much for calling. And I have a caller there to help me with this final sentence. Good evening and welcome to See Results. Hi, welcome.
Hello, good night.
Hi, good evening. Welcome to See Results. What's your name?
Jordan Navarro.
Hi, Jordan. So number 5. Which answers will you choose here?
They are responsible for him,
Yeah. Anything else could work here?
him or she.
She?
Yeah.
Are you sure it's she?
No, her.
Her. Why her? What is wrong with she?
It's not a pronoun.
It is a pronoun, but it is a subject pronoun and not a object pronoun. Right? So be mindful of that. Thank you so much for calling. So him, her, or even it. Right? All of those are correct. Now let's just recap here. Like I said at the beginning, you have multiple answers. You just should, make sure that it's a suitable pronoun. Right? So you will not put a subject pronoun just as the caller mistakenly did here. Right? Use a subject pronoun in place of an object pronoun. Right? It must be the correct pronoun in this correct position. Right? So you can say, will I, he, she, any of those be able to take him out next week? Him, her, right? Those are correct. He or she is meeting me at the cinema. Can I, she, or he accompany you to the supermarket? And just before I go on to number 4, what I wanted to mention about number 2 here, and this is important, especially for those of you who are doing the assignments on the Edmodo quiz, right, for ELA and so on. 1 or 2 times we may give you a similar sentence, right, and you will give the correct answer, but you will write in common letters, he or she. Notice this is the subject of a sentence. Not only is the subject in this case, It is the beginning of a sentence. And here your rules of capitalization still applies. And be very careful with that, guys. If you write he or she here for SEA, right? Now, they will not give you it wrong, but it will be recognized that you did not use capitalization. But now, what if that task there, right, and task 2 in section 1 was for you to actually write in capital letters, and you wrote in common letters, then you are going to get the answer wrong, right? This is testing your knowledge of capitalization. So be sure, right, not only for this, but for Edmodo and for SE, and whenever you are writing in general, to apply all rules that you are aware of, right, and that needs to be applied. So here we need capitalized or capital letters in place of common letters. So just be mindful of that. That is very easy to slip you, right? And I don't want that to happen to you. So back to number 4. Again, should I or we, right, or he or she tell them or her or him the truth? And number 5, they are responsible for him, her, it, right? So all of those are correct. Now here we cannot say she, we cannot say he, right? These are singular, and notice the verb that is being used here is actually plural. Therefore, our subject of the sentence must be plural. So this here would therefore be incorrect to use he or she or a singular subject. It requires a plural subject, so be mindful of that, right, guys? But great job on your subject and object pronouns. Right, those of you who may have gotten 1 or 2 incorrect, be sure, you know, to go over subject and object pronouns. Make sure you learn them, right? This is something that you just cannot guess. You must know them, right? No if, no buts, no maybe. Must know your subject and your object pronouns, right? And I am going to leave out a few. For example, at the beginning where we had the 7 types of pronouns, we looked at quantitative and so on. We are not looking at those because we don't need to test those specifically, right? These are the more frequent ones, or the ones that we use more regularly, so we are going to focus on these, right? So reflexive pronouns. When we initially did reflexive pronouns, I noticed one or two students, you know, having difficulty with using the correct reflexive pronoun, whether it was singular or plural, right? So now we are going to retest your knowledge and see what you have learned so far. Now just be mindful, yes, the reflexive pronouns are all object pronouns, right? So again, let me just show you that real quick, right? So him or her or them and so on, all object pronouns with the ending self or selves. And 1 or 2 of these are singular and some are plural. Right, so like yourselves or ourselves or themselves are all plural, while itself, himself, herself, yourself or myself are singular, right? So you must know which reflexive pronoun to use. So here again, the lines are going to be open for you. We just have some short sentences, but what you have to do is give me the correct reflexive pronoun to complete the sentence, right? So let's see here. I cut something when I was shaving, right? So you give me the correct reflexive pronoun. She blames something for that incident. Don't hurt something by playing carelessly. We enjoyed something on the field trip. You boys should make it something. And number 5, the refrigerator defrosts it. Sorry, I almost said the answer there. And the correct reflexive pronoun. Right, so I'm just going to hold on a few seconds and wait for some calls. Okay, we actually have a call on the line to get us started. Good evening and welcome to See Results.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. What's your name?
Kaylee Spencer.
Hi, Kaylee. So, number 1, which reflexive pronoun will you use?
Myself.
Myself. What is the subject in the sentence here?
I.
I, right? And that is singular. Right, so we use a singular reflexive pronoun. Thank you so much, Kaylee. Right, and Kaylee is correct there. We have another caller to help us. Good evening and welcome to See Results.
Hello, good night.
Hi, welcome to See Results.
Thank you.
So we are looking at number 2. What is the correct reflexive pronoun to use here?
Herself.
Herself, right? She blames herself for that incident. So thank you so much for calling and giving us your answer.
You're welcome.
Okay, we have another caller. Good evening and welcome to See Results. Hi, good evening. Welcome to See Results.
Good evening,
Good evening. What's your name?
Bruce.
Hi, Bruce. So what is the answer for number 3?
Yourself.
Yourself. Don't hurt yourself by playing carelessly, right? So easy enough. Thank you, Bruce, for calling. Right, so don't hurt yourself by playing carelessly. We have another caller. Good evening and welcome to See Results.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam. What's your name? Sorry?
Ariana.
Ariana. So Ariana, what is the correct reflexive pronoun here for number 4?
We enjoyed ourselves at the field trip.
Spell that for me.
Ourselves.
Very good. Why is it selves and not self?
Because it is plural.
Your subject here is plural. So So you are correct. Thank you, Ariana. We have another caller to help us with number 5. Good evening and welcome to See Results. Hi, good evening. Welcome to See Results. I think we lost that call there. Okay, good evening. Welcome to See Results.
Hi, evening.
Hi, Nicholas.
Hi. Okay, for number 5, right? You
Yes.
boys should make it yourselves.
Spell that for me.
Sorry, yourselves. Y-O-U-R-S-E-L-V-E-S.
Yeah. All right. Great job, Nicholas.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. You boys should make it yourselves. And the final call is to help us with number 6. Good evening and welcome to See Results.
Good evening.
Good evening. What's your name?
Kelly Spencer.
Hi, Keely. So, number 6. What is your
Itself.
answer? Sorry?
Itself.
Itself. Good job there, Keely. Thank you so much for calling. Right, so all of these answers here, let's just refresh our minds. I caught myself when I was shaving. Your subject pronoun I usually goes with, not usually, but in fact it goes with the reflexive pronoun myself. She blames herself for that incident. Don't hurt yourself by playing carelessly. We enjoyed ourselves on the field trip. It's ourselves. Notice here, our is plural, hence the reason it ends with selves, plural, not self. And if you didn't realize that, and looking at your subject, you will see also that your subject here, we, is also plural, right? So that was your clue or your indicator there to help you. You boys should make it yourselves, right? You boys here, speaking to a group of boys, plural, right? Make it yourselves. The refrigerator defrosts itself, right? And notice it's itself because refrigerator is a thing. So good job there, guys. Moving on to our next exercise with demonstrative pronouns and demonstrative adjectives. Take a look at the 5 demonstrative pronouns that we went through, right? These, those, this, that, and such. Here, and then we then looked at demonstrative adjectives, right? And we said that when a demonstrative pronoun precedes a noun, it becomes a demonstrative adjective. So we are looking to see, first we must identify the pronoun, and we must determine whether the noun or the word that follows, if it's a noun or not. If it's a noun that follows, then it's a demonstrative adjective, right? So be mindful of that. Again, the lines are open for you to call and tell me whether the sentence is a demonstrative pronoun or it's a demonstrative adjective. Remember, if it's a demonstrative adjective, it simply has a noun following the pronoun, right? And the pronoun that we looked at, or demonstrative pronouns that we looked at, these, those, this, that, and such, right? Those rascals are back in town. This pen is smoother than that pen. That is a long way to go. Will you please grant me that loan we talked about? And number 5, this is my toy car. I'm going to take this call. Good evening and welcome to See Results.
Hi.
Hi, good evening. What's your name?
Kiana again.
Hi, Kiana. So number 1, demonstrative pronoun or demonstrative adjective, and tell me why.
Number 1.
Yes?
Those rascals are back in town. Demonstrative adjective.
Right. First of all, what is your pronoun in the sentence?
Those.
Those, correct. And then rascals here, is it a noun?
Yes.
Right. So therefore, this sentence is a demonstrative.
Adjective.
Great job there. Right. Thank you so much for calling. Right. So look at the way in which she broke that down, or the sentence. So she determined the pronoun in this case, and then she looked to see if the word that follows is a noun or not. Good evening and welcome to See Results. Hi, good evening, caller.
Good evening.
Hi, what's your name?
Christiana.
Hi, Christiana. So number 2, tell us, a demonstrative pronoun or demonstrative adjective?
This.
Right.
Pen.
Pen is a what? What part of speech? Is it a noun?
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else in the sentence?
Smoother.
Smoother. Why are we looking at smoother?
Because it's an adjective describing the pen.
Okay. All right. Go on. Than. Okay. So it's a comparative then. Comparative adjective. That's fine. But how do we determine whether it's a demonstrative pronoun or demonstrative adjective? What are we looking for? Are you there, caller?
Yes.
Okay, so all of it that we're simply looking for, just as you have identified correctly, by the way, right? This here is our pronoun, demonstrative pronoun. But if a noun follows a demonstrative pronoun, it becomes a demonstrative adjective, right? But what I wanted you to see in this sentence, there's a second demonstrative pronoun. And there, again, just as pen there being a noun, pen is also a noun here. The part of speech remain the same. Hence the reason this is a demonstrative adjective type sentence. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay, great job. Thanks for calling. Okay, so we have another caller. Good evening and welcome to See Results.
Hello.
Hi, good evening. What's your name?
Chelsea.
Hi, Chelsea. So number 3.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me what is your pronoun and so on.
That is the pronoun.
Yeah.
And is
Uh-huh.
not a noun.
It's not a noun. Do you know what is over there?
A verb.
A verb, right? Good. So this sentence here, is it a demonstrative adjective or demonstrative pronoun?
A demonstrative pronoun.
Great job, because it does not. The pronoun does not follow or is not followed by a noun, right? So thank you, Chelsea, for that call. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Good evening.
Hi, welcome. What's your name?
Jamal Sabara.
Hi, is Jamal, right?
Janaya.
Sorry?
Janaya.
Janaya. Okay, sorry about that. So number 4, what is the answer?
That is the pronoun, and it is a demonstrative adjective.
Right, loan is a noun, right?
Yes.
Great job. Demonstrative adjective. Great job there, right? Thank you so much for calling. And the final caller will help us with number 5. Good evening and welcome to See Results.
Hello.
Hi, good evening. Welcome to See Results.
Yes.
So tell me, number 5, demonstrative pronoun or demonstrative adjective?
Hold on.
Sure. First thing, are you seeing the pronoun in the sentence? Or demonstrative pronoun?
Is it a demonstrative pronoun?
Sorry?
Yeah.
Okay, which word here is a demonstrative pronoun?
This.
This, right? Correct. And following the word this, is there a noun following the demonstrative pronoun this?
No.
No. So therefore, what type of sentence is this?
Verb.
Sorry? Demonstrative adjective or demonstrative pronoun?
Demonstrative pronoun.
Are you sure? Caller, are you there with us?
Yeah.
So demonstrative?
Pronoun.
Yes, demonstrative pronoun. Sorry, I'm not hearing you too well. But thank you so much for calling, right? And thanks to all our callers today for calling. So let's just recap this exercise. We said that, first of all, we looked at our demonstrative pronouns, right? These, those, this, that, and such. And then for us to determine whether it's a demonstrative pronoun or demonstrative adjective, we must look at the demonstrative pronoun. For example, this, right? If it follows, this pronoun is followed by a noun, it becomes a demonstrative adjective. If it is not followed by a noun, in this case here, it's a demonstrative pronoun. So in looking at these sentences, just as some of our callers did, example in number 1, those is our pronoun, and then the word rascals is a noun. So therefore, this is a demonstrative adjective. And if we look at example 3, because example 2 is just as example 1, right? Example 3, that is a long way to go. That here is our pronoun, but following the word that, or after the word that, is a helping verb. Is a helping verb and not a noun. Therefore, it's a demonstrative pronoun. Right, guys? So it's simple. You just simply have to look for your pronouns or demonstrative pronouns to be more specific. And if it is followed by a noun, you know it's a demonstrative adjective. Right? And next, we'll be looking at interrogative pronouns. Now, what we said about interrogative pronouns is that just as with the 5 W's and H, it is used to ask questions, right? So some of those include who, whom, which, what, whoever, whomever, whichever, and whatever. So that those are your interrogative pronouns. But more specific with interrogative adjectives, you must know that these 3 in particular, out of those that we just named, whose, what, and which. Those again, whose, what, and which, when followed by nouns, are interrogative adjectives. So those 3 in particular, we are focusing on. You simply have to remember these 3 and look at the sentence to see if they are followed by nouns or not. Right? So again, the lines are open, and we just have a couple minutes, so we're going to take as many calls as we can. Try to get 5, as quickly as possible, and then correct them. Right? So number 1, what book are you reading? Right? So just to refresh your memory once more, we are looking at these 3 interrogative adjectives: whose, what, and which. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, what's your name?
Bakarai.
Nice to have you with us. So number 1, tell us, interrogative adjective or interrogative pronoun?
Interrogative adjective.
All right.
Because there's a noun following the pronoun.
Very good. Right, so interrogative adjective. So great job there. We have another call on the line. Good evening, caller. Welcome to See Results.
Hello.
Hi, what's your name?
Christiana.
Hi, Christiana. So number 2, which is it? Interrogative pronoun or adjective?
Whom.
Whom? Right. So what does that tell us about this question? Just to remind you, for it to be an interrogative adjective, first of all, it must be followed by these interrogative pronouns, whose, what, and which. Only those 3, right? And it must have a noun following whose, what, or which for it to be an interrogative adjective. So number 2 here, whom, yes, it's an interrogative pronoun, but therefore, it remains as an interrogative pronoun. First of all, it's not one of those that you need to follow the rule that following a noun, right? So therefore, it remains as an interrogative pronoun. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, so therefore, number 2 is an interrogative pronoun. But don't go anywhere. Help me with number 3. What do you think number 3 is?
Whose?
Right, so is it an interrogative adjective or interrogative pronoun?
Interrogative adjective.
Great job. Interrogative adjective. You are correct. Right, thank you so much for that. All right, I'm going to take our next call to help me with number 4. Good evening. Welcome to C Results. Hi, good evening. Welcome to C Results.
Hello?
Hi, caller. Welcome. What's your name?
Nishana.
Nice to have you with us. So number 4, what is the answer there?
Interrogative pronoun.
Tell me why.
Because I is not a noun.
Excellent job, right? So interrogative pronoun. Great job. Thank you for calling. I'm going to take this final call for today. Good evening and welcome to C Results.
Good evening. It's
Hi.
Janine again.
Nice to have you with us again. And number 5, what is the answer here?
Which an interrogative adjective?
Interrogative adjective. Great job. Thank you for calling.
You're welcome.
Right, so thanks everyone for calling today, right? We really appreciate it. I know some of you at home would also appreciate the reinforcement exercises, as we do need and will take all the practice that we can get, whether it's in spelling, punctuation, capitalization, or even at the task we are on, which is grammar, which is most extensive. We have so much work to do in grammar, right? But we also know that we covered quite a lot as well in grammar, right? So any of those episodes that you miss, especially with that grammar section in the SCA paper, guys, I urge you, go back and rewatch the videos, right? Or watch them if it's your first time. But please do. It's really important information, and I am telling you, it will help you, you know, in that section, because we did cover a lot of work just as you did in school, right? But this here is some extra work, you know, some things that you may have done in Standard 4 and you did not get a chance to repeat in Standard 5, because that's how it goes in the school, in class. It's really busy, really hectic, and really quite a lot of work to get covered in that 2 years in preparation for SCA exam, right? So this is your chance to go back and to recap and to reinforce and to make whatever difficult before it's easier for yourself now. So that's about it for today, guys. We are not finished with reinforcement in relative pronouns, but we are going to continue with that tomorrow. So make sure be tuned in at 5 p.m. for ELA and creative writing tomorrow. I do hope you have a pleasant evening, and I look forward to seeing you guys and joining us tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, guys.